Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Tailgaters. I'm Bradley Davis, joined alongside the magnificent Marcus Thomas, as always. How are you today, Marcus?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to talk about sports. How are you doing today, Bradley?
I'm doing good. You do anything fun this weekend?
No.
No?
Not. Did you?
Oh, I actually did a triathlon. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
You were telling me about that.
Yeah, being active. Got to do something in college, you know? Do something to get off the couch. And, well, with that, we'll move into our segments. First of all, Christian Yelich, according to CBS Sports, inked a 7-year extension and is now under contract with Milwaukee for the next 9 years, worth $215 million. Marcus, what do you think about this contract?
Honestly, if I was Milwaukee, and as a Cubs fan, this hurts to say, they got a great player for a great price. Mm-hmm. He could have gotten so much more money if he wanted, but he's choosing to stick in Milwaukee, which is good for him. I mean, I know if I was a former Marlins player and I found a home like Milwaukee who wanted me there, I would stay. I'd be happy. I'd be grateful. Plus, he's paired up with Lorenzo Cain. They have a great, talented young second baseman. They're a nice up-and-coming team. They could be contenders by like year 5 or 6 of this contract. So it's a good sign. Things are looking up in Milwaukee.
Yeah, I think this is a good deal for both parties involved because Yelich chose his security early in his career over, potentially trying to get more money and being more risky. He signed a 7-year contract with Miami, a 7-year extension that he is still under until 2022 for about $49.5 million. So he didn't really have as much room to negotiate because he was still under contract until he was 31. And by the time you're 31, it's kind of hard to get that money, and he could get hurt. You know, once you, obviously 31 in baseball isn't like 31 in basketball, but you still, like, the knees start to get a little hurt. You get any injury whatsoever leading into your contract year, if you're 31, then teams might not give you quite as much money. So for Yelich, he would have been better off back then, 7 years ago, 5 years ago, if he didn't take that extension. But how could he have known that? You know, he was, he wanted that security. When someone offers you $50 million, guaranteed, it's understandable why he took that. And that's why Mookie Betts is going to make a lot more money because he bet on himself a little bit more, took a little bit more risks. Not saying that one is better than the other, because you can bet on yourself, but you never know what's going to happen. So that's why I think it's a really good deal for Yelich that he was able to get this done, and it is best case scenario for Milwaukee. They're getting potentially the second best player in baseball for way below his. Okay, $215 million, still a lot of money, but it's not what Trout's getting. It's not what Betts is going to get. So it's a really good deal for Milwaukee, and especially those smaller markets that can't always get a player like that. They'll be good for probably 9 years to come.
Exactly. And with Trout took a lot of money. People thought he was almost underpaid, honestly. They could have given a blank check. Anything he wanted. He is far and away probably the best baseball player ever.
Ooh,
that's a bold take.
That is a bold take.
But I honestly believe it's true.
You think if he retired today, or he's on trajectory to be the best ever?
Trajectory.
Okay. Just making sure.
I think this year I saw in WAR he's supposed to pass Babe Ruth and a bunch of other greats. His rookie season was comparable to the rookie season of Mickey Mantle and Joe DiMaggio. He's been on pace to become the best player ever for a while now, and he's the best player in the game right now for sure. Christian Yelich, while taking almost kind of a slight pay cut, is helping the Brewers stay competitive. They're not sinking all their money into one player.
True, yeah.
So now they have more money they could spend elsewhere to keep building the team. Because it is a team game. We've seen with Trout, while being the best player, the Angels haven't had as much success as most teams. And Yelich is trying to stay competitive. He wants to play for a winner, and this is allowing both sides to do that.
Yeah, for sure. But I will say, where would you put Albert Pujols on best players all time?
He's definitely up there, but he's had a very steep decline, especially a couple years into that massive contract he did sign with the Angels.
Yeah.
Which has definitely kind of helped set the Angels back too. But
Josh Hamilton, Albert Pujols. Joining forces to take down the Angels. But I asked that question because if you look at their trajectory at this point in both of their careers, they're actually very close. Pujols actually edging Trout in a lot of those categories. And that's why, like, people just forget, since Pujols did have such a big decline, he was amazing. Like, when the Cardinals were winning their World Series, he was incredible. And so that's just why I bring up that question. Trout, obviously no one's expecting Trout to have that decline, but also Pujols was pretty old when he signed that big deal. He was old in 2011, or at least getting up there, and now it's 2020. So at some point, what can you expect? But maybe we expect Trout to not do that.
Plus, I don't think we've seen an MLB player with Trout's body type. 6'4", built like a linebacker.
With speed, too.
With speed. He's a five-tool player in every sense of the word, definitely. But this will take us into the break. Stick around. We'll be debuting a new segment called Probable or Preposterous right after this.
Glad to see everyone back, as we are now joined by the superb Shane Palma.
Thank you.
To help moderate our latest segment. How are you today, Shane?
I'm great. Happy to be here. Glad to wear a Bengals jersey, switching up.
Yeah, what happened to the Yankees?
You know, I gotta keep it fresh. Why not keep it fresh?
True. We're up to 2 weeks in a row. Is this gonna be a thing now? Always Shane?
If you guys will have me, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
Well, maybe. We'll see.
Well, this new segment's pretty simple. We'll have Shane read us a sports scenario, and me and Bradley will discuss if we think it's a probable case of it happening or a preposterous case of it happening this year.
In recent twist, Shane will decide whose argument is better, and a winner will be crowned.
At the end of this, yes. All right, let's start off. First up, Astros players will apologize at some point in the regular season for their sign-stealing mishap.
You can take this one, Marcus.
Okay. I think it's preposterous. I don't think they will. They've shown no remorse yet. They can get hit by as many pitches as they want. I think it'd be weak of them to take a step back and apologize now. They've chosen their course of action. They have to stick with it now.
Okay.
I agree. It is preposterous. It was a weak move to show no remorse, but it would be an even weaker move to change now. You have to take one path and stick with it. I think they chose the wrong path. I don't know if either of you caught A-Rod's talking about it on air, about how fans will not be happy about them not taking remorse, talking about his own experiences with PEDs and how that went down, and how he took a step back, apologized, owned up to what he did. He felt that the Astros made a huge mistake by not owning up to what they did, but at this point, it's too late. And I don't think they will do it. They have shown no indications of doing it, so I think it is absolutely preposterous. They will never apologize, even after the season.
Both very compelling cases, both the same exact answers, yet neither of you are going to get the point. This is very probable. Marwin Gonzalez, already one player on that team, came out and apologized a few weeks ago. And Rob Manfred said the reason that the Astros players are not being suspended is because at some point in this season they have to apologize for their actions and own up for what they did. So
does it count if they didn't mean it, though, if they're forced to do it?
Well, the point is they're forced to apologize at some point so that they don't get suspended. That was like the whole agreement.
Yeah, but it wasn't a meaningful apology the first time they were supposed to do it. It's not going to be meaningful the second time. And isn't Marwin Gonzalez on a new team?
He is. He's on the team.
That's true. Like, all the players on new teams have apologized. Carlos Beltran apologized. He was not on the Astros anymore.
Former players are going to apologize. The ones still on the Astros will not.
All right, fine. You made a new case. I like what you guys are saying. I'll give you both the point.
All right, let's go.
We'll start off with one. Next question now. Different sport. A team other than the Lakers or the Clippers will represent the West in the NBA Finals this year.
This is definitely preposterous. A different team will not represent the West. I could see another team keeping one of those teams from making it to the Western Conference Finals, but I do not see a team, the Nuggets or Rockets or Mavs or any of those teams, beating both the Lakers and the Clippers to get there. It's just too deep. You know, you have Kawhi, LeBron, Paul George. Like, there's just too many stars localized in those two teams. Would I be opposed to seeing an upset? No, of course. I'm an upset-minded guy. I like to see upsets, but I do not see a team getting through both of those powerhouses. I mean, LeBron went to something like 9 straight finals with Anthony Davis at his side. What's going to keep him from getting to a 10th?
Well, what's going to keep him from getting to a 10th is he didn't make one last year. But I think it's probable. The Nuggets are currently the 2 seed in the West. which means
No, I think it's the Clippers. I think they're tied, and Clippers have tiebreaker.
well, I guess I was wrong on that one. But I still think it's probable. Paul George and Kawhi have played very few games together this year. Both have been battling injuries. The rest of the Clippers have been battling injuries. The Lakers still lack depth, and you need playoff depth on rosters. And Dion Waiters isn't going to fix that problem for either team. I don't remember which one signed him.
Lakers.
That's on me. Okay. Yeah, it definitely does not fix the Lakers' depth problem with Dion Waiters out there. Dion Waiters is a good player, and he could be a good player, but it's not enough depth for the Lakers.
So what team is making the finals?
I think the Nuggets have the best chance because they have a lot of depth. I think Jokic, if he has the energy and effort level there, I think he could do a pretty good job of trying to stop AD, and then committee defense could help contain LeBron just enough for Jamal to put up enough points, for Michael Porter Jr. to be an X factor, because without AD is going to have to go up against Jokic. LeBron might have to guard MPJ. I don't know who else he would have to guard on that team, but MPJ being an X factor and the depth of the Nuggets could help them squeak by one of those two teams, and the other one being eliminated by a different team.
Didn't the Spurs almost beat the Nuggets last year in the playoffs? And didn't they lose to Dame and the Trailblazers? And did they not add enough, many pieces in the offseason? They had an amazing regular season last year. Did not look super strong in the playoffs. Ryan's shaking his head at me right now. Big Nuggets guy. Big Nuggets guy. I'm sorry. But I do not see it happening. And the Lakers have the firepower. The Clippers have the depth. We're talking about either Lakers or Clippers. The Clippers are probably the deepest team in the league. They have the sixth man of the year. It should be every year. Obviously, they can't give it to him every year, but they darn near give him close to every year. Whenever he is in the starting lineup, drops like 30 points. Their players are super, super deep. So you're saying they have injuries. They have people to put them in. And then LeBron, we've seen LeBron on the Cavs carry a team by himself. And now he's got Anthony Davis, top 5 player in the world. We're not going to get into that debate. But that's why I think that one of those teams will come out of it. I'm not saying which one. It could be either of them. But I do not see the Nuggets taking either of them down.
I agree. It will probably be. Well, I can see another team doing it. It might not be the Nuggets. And you said the Nuggets didn't add anyone. The Nuggets didn't need to. The Nuggets were a playoff team with the young team they have, and they're a very young team. They added Jeremy Grant, who's a good role player, good stretch forward off the bench, and high energy, high rebound guy. And they added a lottery potential, top 5 potential pick with MPJ, because he sat out last year with an injury. He's back this year. They have a lot of young players. Growth and development is them adding star talent as they progress into being superstars, which Jamal Murray has clearly done this year. So I think with the growth of talent that they have in-house and the addition of a healthy MPJ, they have the depth and consistency to at least come close to dethroning at least one of these two teams.
All right, calling time there. You guys both got your chance to go back and forth twice. Again, very compelling arguments both sides, but I'm going to give this one to Marcus.
Oh, yes.
This is because injuries. Paul George, 3 times this year, has been down with a hamstring injury. Anthony Davis has been questionable for every single game they've played this year with some type of injury. LeBron James is, 35 years old?
It doesn't matter.
It does matter. When it comes to the
matter.
playoffs, if he has to play, these games down the stretch, if they're going to use him in any capacity, he needs rest, and he hasn't gotten rest this year. And, guys like Russell Westbrook have been rested, and I know Kawhi Leonard has been rested too, but there's too much depending on the duo of Paul George and Kawhi Leonard there, and nothing's a guarantee with the amount of injuries that they have, and that's why Marcus is going to get the point here.
All right.
Just because
All right, we'll see.
You can't bet on any of these teams to definitely go into the finals.
We'll see come summer, but we saw what Golden State was able to do with their super team. No one was able to beat them. So
That is true. So we'll have to find out. Anyway.
Yeah, but their super team was 4 players with Steph, Clay, KD, and Draymond.
we're seeing how Draymond's doing right now, aren't we?
Oh,
By
Draymond was the
himself.
weakest link of this super 4, but still, that's a very good 3.5. Really?
Yeah.
I mean, Clay's probably like a top 15. Steph and
Doesn't really
KD are top
He was
10.
having a
top five.
real problem staying relevant in the playoffs, though, Clay, early in those runs. Anyways, we got to move on.
We have
Next
to.
question.
We got it. Next question. And this is all over Instagram right now, all over Twitter. Tom Brady will sign with a team other than the Patriots this offseason.
I was close with this one. I was really close. So, I think he is going to stay with the Patriots. I think it's more than likely, but I give it, that's not enough to say preposterous. Not enough to say preposterous. So I'm going to go with probable, just for the fact that from all accounts, he's loving being a free agent and he's loving testing the market. And one thing that I have to take into account is this is the first time this guy has really been free in his career to decide where to go. Now, I don't think he's going to the Chargers. He's not going to play for a team that has no fan base. But there are teams that would pay Tom Brady a lot of money, even in his old age. And I don't know if, like, the Patriots have been used to paying him so little. And I don't know exactly how much pull Bill Belichick has over Robert Kraft. But I know for a fact Belichick would be opposed to giving Brady a huge quarterback contract that another team might be able to. So that's why I say probable. Not saying that it's not going to happen, like he's absolutely leaving the Patriots, but it is at least bigger probability than preposterous. It's preposterous to say that it's preposterous. We'll put it that way.
All right, Marcus.
I'm definitely going to agree it's probable, but for the reason that Tom Brady, the biggest knock on him for most of his career is that he's a system quarterback because he's always been with Belichick. So it's probable if he leaves, he's going to go to a team that he knows can be a winner because he doesn't want to go to a Chargers team or like a Las Vegas Raiders team where they're not quite there yet. He's 42. He's up there in age. He's older than a quarterback really needs to be in this day and age. But he's out there. He's competing, I guess. He struggled at times last year, but if he's going to a new team, they have to be contenders now. And the Chargers aren't there yet. The Raiders are definitely not there yet. The Patriots are the only, if he stays with the Patriots, everyone's still always going to have him justified as that system quarterback under Bill Belichick. But the stats and the rings will speak for themselves. He is the greatest quarterback of all time. I don't think he leaves. So it's probable that he does to break the myth of him being a system quarterback, but I don't think he leaves to do that.
So you think he stays in New England, and you think he leaves New England?
I would not be surprised if he left New England.
Definitive answer here. Is
All
he
right.
staying with the Patriots?
All right, he's leaving.
And you think he's staying?
I think he will stay.
I think he's staying. I'm giving this one to Marcus
Yes.
again. Tom Brady, why ruin your legacy? And, he's playing the media game right now. He's testing the market. He wants to stay with the Patriots. He wants to act like he isn't going to stay with the Patriots, try to get the most money out of them right now, and then end up saying Josh McDaniels is still there. He still has Edelman. He still has Belichick. He'll stay there for at least another 2 years and then eventually retire.
See,
So
I'm just going to say one thing. You can't say probable and then say he's going to stay. You got to be on the preposterous.
that's why I had a definitive. I was confused by that, but once we got the definitive answer, Marcus gets the point here.
Well, then
because
he has to declare as preposterous. What's up with this? He's changing the rules.
I don't think he actually read the question. I just think he
Well,
was
that's a knock to him.
Signs with the team. Yeah, it's preposterous. He signs with a different team. Yeah, I had that
that's
question
why-
This is
wrong.
rigged.
No,
You're supposed to be unbiased, Shane.
He is.
Let's-
I'm clearly better at this.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I
let's
think
get to
I think it's just you agree with what Shane agrees.
let's hit this fourth question here. Come on, I'm wearing the jersey. Joe Burrow will not have the best rookie season out of the new quarterback class. You know what, Marcus will get this one first, and then I'll let you give you enough time to develop an argument here.
I see Shane wearing the Bengals jersey.
I am, yes.
You were the front runner of the MUTV Burrow for Heisman
Yes,
campaign.
did run that right here.
But this is going to, I think, help Bradley win this point. I think it's tied right now, or I think I have a
You're up
2-1.
lead. 2-1?
2-1.
Ooh, I might blow a 2-1 lead here. I don't think he has the best rookie season out of all the quarterbacks, simply because the Bengals aren't good. It's the Baker Mayfield situation. If you're on your back the entire season because you can't block anyone from hitting you, you can't put up stats. If he he can be as good. He could have the best career if he was on a good team. I think a quarterback ends up in a better situation with better pieces around him where he can thrive right out of the gate and have the better rookie season.
Okay.
See, I'm going to say this is preposterous. I think the Bengals as a number one, like to be a team with the number one pick is one of the best number one picks as far as like a core for a quarterback can be. I mean, obviously they had a really bad season, but it's not like the Browns. It's obviously they have been mediocre for a long time under Marvin Lewis, but at least they've been relevant. And at least they have Tyler Boyd and potentially A.J. Green if he stays there and doesn't decide he wants to leave. But if Joe Burrow goes there, maybe he'll stay. And then he has a top-tier wide receiver who is a little banged up, and then a really good up-and-coming receiver that especially late in the year last year really came on and really torched some teams up. And so I think that especially with his stats being one of the best seasons in college football of all time, something you called very early on, giving you props for that.
Thank you.
For all
I
the
did.
fans out there. I think that like the only one who could really that has the talent to challenge him is Tua, but he has been extremely injury prone. And going from Alabama, who has like one of the best, he had some of the best offensive linemen in the country for college, going from that to potentially a mediocre to below mediocre
Miami Dolphins.
yeah,
team.
Miami
Yeah,
Dolphins
possible.
team, he's probably going to get rocked.
Mhm.
And that means he can probably get hurt. And I don't see Jalen Hurts or the likes of those QBs having a better season than Burrow based on what we saw in this past season.
You predicted this one right off the bat. You said that it was going to...
One sec.
One sec. You got a rebuttal.
Who's the head coach for the Cincinnati Bengals? You said Marvin Lewis, right?
No, I said he's not. He was the coach of the Cincinnati Bengals. He left.
It's currently Zach Taylor, who is from the Sean McVay coaching tree.
Great
But-
offensive mind.
Great offensive mind, don't get me wrong. But who had the better rookie season in 2012 out of RG3 and Andrew Luck?
RG3.
Because Andrew Luck consistently was getting sacked behind a mediocre Colts offensive line. Andrew Luck has had the far and away better career, or had the better career since he's now retired. But rookie quarterbacks with the number one pick behind bad offensive lines don't have the same chance to be as great as they will be with an offensive line
So-
that has competency.
So who do you think is going to be better than him?
Whatever quarterback ends up in the best
Okay.
system. If
Tua is definitely going to also be behind a mediocre offensive line because he's projected as going very high in the draft as well. And then I'm seeing some predictions that Hurts is projected at third at this point, third or fourth. So he's probably not going to be in a super great system. And even if he was, put him on the New England Patriots, he doesn't have a better season than Burrow.
I could see if Tom Brady were to leave, I could see Belichick finding some random quarterback in some random league from college football, putting him in and having a productive winning season with him, and that being the best rookie season because winning as the quarterback matters.
Well, what would you say that a quarterback going to New England and going maybe 11-5 should be viewed the same as Burrow going to Cincinnati and taking them 8-8? I'd still give that nod to Burrow at that point.
Well, that's assuming they'd go 8-8.
Yeah, that is, but that's assuming that a quarterback would go to New England and be really, really good in their first year with Brady leaving, which you said Brady would stay. So
I know. There's a lot of scenarios.
There's a lot of scenarios, which is why I'm going to give Bradley the point because
Let's
the
go.
Bengals have so much money and so much draft capital. Who's to say they won't fix this offensive line? There's the big names out there like Jack Conklin, who's going to get paid a ton of money. And there's so many teams in the market for him. Bengals could easily pick him up and be like, look, Joe Burrow, we got you protection. We re-signed A.J. Green for you. We have Joe Mixon in the backfield. You are going to be successful this season because we believe in you. Bradley gets the point. Now it's tied. Now we have the tiebreaker question. 2-2, off the cuff right here. Last year we saw a crazy amount of home runs by a ton of MLB teams. I think you said before 14 teams broke their own franchise records. Will teams surpass their home run totals from last season this year?
me first?
Yes, Bradley.
I think it's very probable because I do not think that they are going to stop juicing the balls, even if they say they are, because when it comes down to it, they're trying really, really hard to get people to watch baseball, as we have seen in some of their latest proposals where me and Marcus have disagreements on. But people like home runs, especially people that aren't die-hard traditional baseball fans. So that's why I think they're going to keep juicing the ball in every single year in pretty much every sport across the country. Players in, it doesn't matter, players, track athletes, people playing cricket, they get stronger, they get faster, and they get better at the sport. You could just see it year after year after year. And in baseball, you can see it in home runs. You can also see it in how pitchers are still able to keep low ERAs with these super good hitters. And so in high school, I'm a track and cross country guy. And with track and cross country, you can see very clearly more than any other sport the progression, because it's just times. And so that's just an example of how every single year people are getting faster and faster. And I'm talking just since I was a freshman in high school. Times when I was a freshman in high school were way slower as far as the state times and national times as they are now. And I think that progression follows every single sport, including baseball. Even if it's just a 1-year difference, I think that it makes a difference, especially if they keep juicing the balls. So I say it's very probable that they hit even more home runs this year than they did last year.
Okay.
I'm going to say preposterous. One, just to be different than to make this an easier choice for you. I don't know which side you're leaning on. But to have a record-breaking year and then to break it the next year, it seems way too difficult. Pitchers are going to be working even harder to make sure they are limiting the long ball more. Pitchers are going to have more strategy to see how the hitters were attacking to hit home runs, and they can try to change it. I know a lot of pitchers have talked to Manfred about trying to get the balls to be not juiced this year. And if they don't juice it, it'll definitely be a lot harder to break it. But as we said in the beginning of this, 14 teams broke their franchise record. We would need at least 14 to do it again this year, if not more, to break the record set last year. I don't think that many teams could hit that many home runs in 2 consecutive years.
Well, wouldn't you say the goal of all pitchers is already to limit the long ball? I think last year they weren't standing up there on the mound like, I think I'm going to give up some 5 home runs this game, That sounds like a great idea. Let's go do that. Let's go. So I think that's not going to have any effect on next year's long balls.
Well, you said every year it's a progression, and you can't really make the adjustments in season to combat the multitude of home runs that we're hitting. But now they've had a whole off season to dissect the film, to understand like the sequencing they were using, and trying to find out what they were doing that was allowing so many home runs to be hit off of them. And they can now try to tweak it and find new ways to give up less home runs.
All right, that's all I got.
That's all you guys got? All right. Very, very interesting, both sides.
Oh, no.
I find it interesting that you didn't take the player perspective of actual regression with, players on the Twins or the Yankees. You went the track and the whole athlete angle. And, your argument with the teams, you would need at least 14. Both very convincing. Gonna have to go with Marcus.
Yes.
Marcus
Fair,
on this one.
That's fair.
It just doesn't seem likely. I like your argument about studying film and pitchers really, you said it. Pitchers don't go up there to try to give up home runs, but I just think that after last season, which was ridiculous with the amount of home runs that we had, there's no way they're going to let that happen again. Baseball is still very fun to watch. Giving up more home runs, a 17-16 game, that's going to last, 4.5 hours now? Then they're not going to want that. They're going to reduce it just a little bit, enough to keep the game interesting, but also to limit the home runs.
All right, well, there you have it. Congrats, Marcus. Thank you, Shane, for mediating. He will not be on the show again. No, I'm just kidding.
There goes my run.
But we are actually out of time, so thank you for watching, and make sure to follow us at 23 Sports MUTV and Instagram at MUTV23. For myself, Bradley Davis, Marcus Thomas, and our special guest,
Yes,
Shane Palma.
thank you.
Have a good night.